What's up, everybody, and welcome to Redefine Fitness. Today, special event for everyone following this group. That's right, Suffolk County Business Network. We have Mr. Gary Russin here, who's going to be teaching you how to help with sales in your business, help you guys grow. He's doing us a huge favor coming down here, teaching our staff. So this is a live view of our staff for them, with you guys chiming in online. So if you have any questions, comments, post in the group. I'll hop in any time to kind of answer. But without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Gary Russin.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Anthony and Redefine Fitness for the opportunity. Thank you, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. I just kind of semi-retired in March, and I've been going to business network meetings with Anthony. He got my passions going here, so we became starting a sales consulting business. And this opportunity is really, thank you.
Of course. Super excited.
Why did Anthony ask me to be here? Well, I've been in sales since right out of college. Probably before that, because my dad was doing soda distributing in Brooklyn. But I've been in some kind of business selling since in 88 out of college. I took it over and then worked it, sold it in 95. And then went into kicked in the beer industry, became a route salesman. Then I went to the food industry. And that's where my career kind of really started taking off. I was a regional sales manager for a number of years, and then I became director of sales. Actually, I was like a copper. I was at Zardi, right? Worked there for 3 years. Pierre purchased Zardi. I made the cut. Then Pierre for another 5 years, and then I made the cut there when the Vance and Pierre merged. We were the two largest beef companies in the country, especially in the food processing area. And when we merged, I was able to make the cut. And 3 years later, I became the director of sales, and we had to build out a school team. And basically, that's what I've been doing for the last 11 years, building sales. And in 2013, I met Julian DeLong in Indianapolis, and they were part of Blueprint Consulting, sales consulting, and introduced me to this process. And the process I'm going through today is about a 30,000 foot view, right? But if you use this process, you can use it not just in sales and business, you can use it in personal life. My kids will get to that a little bit later, but they even have certain objectives we'll talk about in a bit. But there are a lot of areas in your life that are challenges, and you set your goals and achieve them. And so that's why I really bought into this. It's a great process, and I thank Julian for introducing. But the key is discipline. You don't get through anything with your life without discipline. Last week I came to the gym with Allie, and I did everything hurt. I didn't want to get out of bed, but I came, and it was one of the best workouts I've had in a long time. But we're going to achieve all our goals through discipline and expertise. Anyway, now let's get into the sales part. We want to have these world-class sales. Every single company, major group that I've been in, Tyson, really large companies, billion-dollar companies, we all have a sales process. And, how do you get there? Attitude, skills, and knowledge. But guess what? You can't teach attitude, right? But you can teach skills and knowledge. Right? Skills, I was afraid to stand up. But eventually I started speaking up for a company of 300 people. It's hard because how did I get there was preparation. Well, that builds confidence. Right. But I know this sounds, we're going to get into this. This is the 7 C's of knowledge, and how do we acquire a knowledge database? You guys understand fitness, right? Healthy lifestyles. Guess what? Our job is to show that value to our client or customer and understand their work. It's not about our work. We understand our work. You forgot more about fitness than I'll ever know. But what do you know about sales? That's what you call me. No, I'm kidding. But the 7 C's of knowledge, this is this gets a little clunky, but don't read into it more than you have to. 7 C's of knowledge is just looking, for example, when I was with Google or with Tyson, all my competitors in that area. So I understood what the market was doing. So when I went to a customer, I was a resource, and could speak intelligently. I have the knowledge and value. I brought value to that sales call. Okay? So it wasn't just me, another example is I needed hard data, Some people are numbers people. So I went on the CDC website and got CDC alerts for obesity and healthy lifestyle. So now every day, it could be a quick email alert. I used to get them from the USDA all the time, just so I know what's going on in my industry, market, current trends. So when I'm going into my clothes, I have a database. I mean, that's a real Reader's Digest version of the next 3 slides, because we have a lot of slides. I usually do this course in about 3 days, and we got an hour and a half. So if I speak fast, then go quickly. But here's the old version of social networking. I love this. This is Facebook. There's a picture on my desk, right? And now with the internet, Google Alert, there's ways of getting this knowledge, right? So basically, you can read through all this, but the 7 C's are. For example, you were mentioning earlier about prospecting. You want to be on an alert for those. Even your marketing person, have them get Google alerts for that. Or whatever industry is in Suffolk County or Nassau County. You want to drive that business forward for your client. Here's some sources. I'm going to send this to you guys. So my contact information is there. I'll write it on the board for anybody home that wants to check it out. But go into the structured selling. The structured selling process is a 14-step process. So why is it loaded?
Click forward again. There you go.
Oh, I don't even know how to do that. I must have hit something when I was. I mentioned this earlier. So this is just reiterating it, and even at the local level, you don't need to be a world-class company to have an operating procedure. And basically, every salesperson, now any person, has most of this in their head, and going through the process and keep it. You'll see as we move forward where you push yourself to the next level. Okay, instead of just closing one opportunity for people in the product business, it could be multiple opportunities. If you're prepared and have a structured process, it can go above and beyond. So I'm going to actually have to read from this slide. This is a definition, but what is structured selling? Understanding of creating a medium buyer, and then selecting the specific needs and features of your proposition that will satisfy their needs. So what do you guys? You're providing personal training. The people that, for example, I didn't know where, I'm the $6 million man, right? I have a fake hip, fake knee, fake ankle. I didn't know how to train for that. I needed help. I went to another gym, and I couldn't walk for 2 weeks after they only did personal training. That was my need. And I had to see a road to success. Okay? The idea should be then presented to the buyer as structured and right, so we'll get to that in a bit. But here's the 14-step process. It sounds intimidating, right? But okay, customer assessment. Kind of do that, right? But what if you did that assessment beforehand using the 7 C's? You kind of understood who they were, what made them tick. Kind of have a portion of understanding of what their goals and objectives are, right? I know it. You're looking at me, not snippy, but, I mean, this is, like with companies, I sold product. I could research a school district, okay? I could look at their menus, I could figure out what their average daily participation was. I was able to know their business as well as they did when I went in. So that developed a list of questions I had to find out what they need. I can't go in there, like I wasn't gonna go in there, just my company told me to sell this pen. I wasn't gonna sell them this pen if they didn't need that. Because guess what, next week or next month, I have to go in there again. If they bought this pen and it didn't work for them, that would blow our relationship, right? So, then what's the redefined, right? How do they work into what we do and what can we do for them? Interviews are soon meet with the customer, right? We're going to do that with the assessment. And then we're going to develop S.M.A.S.H objectives. What's our objective? What's our goal? Anticipate objectives with solutions. This is probably for me anyway, the most important step. Because you can take with your close, if you enter these objections or assumed objections within your close, it's going to lead right to the sale. Because you've answered my questions on okay, you got that one. So by doing this, you get the best close you possibly can. It's the customer close. Where do I say, right? You've answered every question. You thought about what they're going to object to. I mean, we talked, that's why I was drilling in this morning. I was asking Amy, Allie, what are your most common objections? Why do people not join? Right? Because if you join, you're going to have the path to your goal. What's stopping them from not getting to where they want to be? Right? Let's find that out. Then develop. That, I think, is going to be for another day. I'll drill down into that more. That's just the negotiation. And obviously, there's not much negotiation. But we'll get into the call content. But just so you know, step one is the pre-check. Step two is the pre-meeting, then the meeting, and then post-meeting. So I'm going to cover all that. So it's bits and pieces. But the post-meeting, you don't even have, that's after your call. All right? So those steps 13 and 14 are a review, how to take time. Pre-check assessment, classify if it's the right customer, identify the service or product. Some of this, I'm pivoting as well. I'm used to selling products, not services. Sorry. Laser focus in one direction. So here's the question. If I go off on a product rather than a service, please reel me in and say how it applies, because it's a mindset I've had for how many years. Determine like-minded and your areas of growth, promotion, and get insight with stakeholders. Now, do we have the right relationships? That's more of a corporate thing, getting through the gatekeeper. You know, the secretary that's won't give you the appointment, or am I wasting my time on the wrong person? And I'm sorry, but it's not for this group. Opportunities within the client range. Okay. For example, Allie, you came into my assessment because I'm like, oh God, three lower body replacements. What's this guy going to look like? So how am I even going to be able to train this guy, right? So that's how that is. That's your pre-check assessment, right? What is this customer? You like mountain biking, John, right? What do you need? How can I define a workout that gets you to achieve your goals going up Killington, not going down Killington, right? Going up Killington is a lot harder. Yeah, but, I know, it's snow shed, maybe. What's working, what is not. Okay. I saw this one, and this is the whole point of having a structure. You have this on your podcast the other day, and basically it's confidence builds through preparation and consistent learning over time to gain results and confidence in yourself. Structured selling process and being prepared for any meeting, sales call, negotiation with buying a car, you name it. If you're prepared and have the confidence to go into that negotiation, you're gonna win. And you're gonna have confidence. And people will see that confidence. And confidence gains respect, trust, and starts building a relationship. And one thing I've noticed is part of this being here for over a year now, is the relationship is one of the most important parts of this business. And it's one of the most important things in sales. If you go to Macy's and you walk through, unfortunately, you have to go through that, what is it? The people are coming up to you. Nobody wants, or a car dealership, and people are selling you right away. Nobody likes to be sold. They want to have a relationship before they sell them. I'll never forget when I moved out here, I had a real Remember how many bedrooms I had. I said, guess what? I'm done. You know, they had no idea what they were trying to say. They were just trying to make a sale and not looking at my needs. So seeing how the needs-based system really makes the relationship work. All right, here's previous assumed needs of my customer, principle 3. Right? Understanding the needs of our customer requires the conversation. And we'll talk about that. What open-ended questions you ask, right? And we'll have a structure for that too. It's not a structure. You know how to have a conversation. But as salespeople, once we're in front of people sometimes, we tend to talk to them or ask a bunch of questions. Stay in the funnel, that's what they call it, the funnel, and ask the next logical question, so we understand exactly what you're doing. Not a little bit, and we'll show you that in a little bit, but prepare a list of questions. Okay, that is key because you think you're going to know. I changed this presentation how many times? Just today, and it was done Wednesday, right? But I had to keep changing because I talked to you guys and, oh, that's not going to work. Oh, that's not going to work. So it's an ongoing process. And usually I have a sheet for this as well that you can write things down on. And I'll be in the shower. Oh, you know, I got to do that. Or I'll wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, oh my God, I forgot to do that. But it's good to have those questions down. So when you go in front of the customer, you're prepared. And if you go off on a tangent, or if they throw you a curveball, you're still prepared. Okay? So. I've used this before, but utilize the assessment notes, right? You have a pre-assessment that you fill out, right? Use that as your pre-call assessment, right? And determine, okay, what about this? What are your interests? Get them talking about their life's interests and goals. That's the best way we can go with these customers, right? Because we want to know, for example, I hate to use my cell phone, but it's easy because in prior years, I could ski only about 4 days per year. And my knee would hurt, my back would hurt, my shoulders were hurt. And I went to Allie and said, I want to ski 20 days. And we put in the work together. And she asked me the questions like, okay, what kind of skier are you? What are your goals, your legs, your core, your shoulders? And we get you built a comprehensive plan for you to hit my goal. So, anyway, use the strong 7 C's. If it's a weight loss thing, right? They come here to lose weight. See what's obesity cost? I have that stat here for hard data for the analytical type people. And you can say it costs almost $210 billion a year. Just the cost of obesity and health. That's crazy, right? You know, for me, I'm on no meds. But anyway. All right, it's time to get out of the top long enough. All right, let's make a list of assumed objectives. And this I'm going to take a picture of, and we're going to work together to overcome these objectives. Not today, but individually, or if you prefer a group. I don't know how we can do that, but I'll give you 5 minutes just for the sake of time. Yeah, here's a whiteboard here. The markers right here. Who on the floor as well? Oh, Allie. All right, so we're gonna, how to get those, our assumptions, our pre-call assessment, the ideas about the client. What questions are we gonna ask to get them to verbalize?
We're writing their objectives or the questions that we want to ask them.
The questions were, yeah, exactly. What are some needs, right? We're gonna put those on there, please. Then we're gonna discuss how to bring those assumptions back. Okay, it's 3:40 now. I'm gonna give you till 3:45. I mean, we kind of know, come on, get out.
They hate volunteering.
All he is, it's a team effort. I saw it in your guidebook. It's teamwork.
Oh, yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Come on.
Gosh, he's tougher than us.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
You did.
Brandon, you did
My
this.
father. Get your ass out of bed. No, do that. What are some of the assumed needs for your customers? What is it? Yeah.
Meaning like what they're looking.
Yeah, what are their goals? What, is it physical therapy? Is it, obesity? It's a different.
If you're watching this live or watching this recorded, guys, post in the comments. What are your clients' assumed needs? Don't go off of ours because obviously we're a fitness studio. So please throw it in the comments. What are your clients' assumed needs? Comment below. Thank you, John. First day on the board. Did I participate or no?
Really no drama on this. Our workshop too far. Yeah. Accountability.
The biggest one.
How many clients have a home gym?
What's
They
that
don't
one?
use it. Most of them are clothing. And I have to get somebody out of bed at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I gotta show up. Canceling is not an option. No, I was getting my foot.
No, that's good. You did. I got you. I'm always editing
That's
you.
good. I mean, that was 3 minutes. That was good. You guys got up. So over the essence of time, so I can talk more. All right, Anthony, you wrote the accountability. What's it, how would you?
Huh?
Why, what question would you get to understand that I need accountability?
How can you work out now?
Couple days, when I get the chance.
So if we have a consistent effort, we got at least 4 to 5 days. And a lot of people accountable for filling out.
Question. I don't need a lecture.
I like lecturing. I'm used to podcasting. I go on for hours.
You're fine. So you put a checklist together, a suit of questions, right? How do you get them to tell you about that? Bring that out.
I asked about what's your diet like now? What are you currently doing?
Yeah.
And why do you think it's not working? Like, oh, I belong to LA Fitness. Why do you think it's not working? Oh, I don't know. Essence, right?
That's fair, that's fair.
If you've been on any structured programs for diet before, and what works for them.
Right.
Or did you?
That's an excellent question, actually. Have you been on the program? Because people need, a lot of, I know with weight loss, for me, it was, still has to be, healthy. My food is a big part of it. Health, accountability, and about accountability, and tracking, and measuring. And those are pretty important, right? Healthy fitness. Healthy lifestyle. Is healthy lifestyle something that's important to you? And then staying on fun. Motivation, support. That's a good one. I like that. I think incorporating the podcasts and stuff like that, they have to want it too, right? So we have to get them a little coaching and what is that, mental health? Or is that?
But back to motivation sport, it's something like what you said earlier. You have a full gym in the house. And you come here to get that motivation.
What's the outreach? How much do you know about this? Everybody thinks they do by watching Good Morning America, and it changes every freaking day. No, see, you don't want to, right? But every day there's a new study out, right? We don't know.
I Googled it.
I thought McDonald's was a healthy diet. All right? Oh, I'm having a burger. That's protein, you know? But nobody understands the research involved. So you have, the value you bring is we can show them how to hit these goals, a pathway to success. We just have to understand their needs and wants from these goals based on the assessment and ask the right questions to get it out. All right. Here's the big one. Now this is where I'm getting fired up because I love to talk about this stuff. Your objectives. I can read off the definition of business out of businessdictionary.com. This is the definition of a business objective. A person or system aims to achieve within time frame and with available resource. So time frame, resource. In general, objectives are more specific and easier tools that underlie all planned strategic activities. They serve as the basis for creating policy and evaluating performance. Okay? And with that, I did my S.M.A.S.H objectives. I love this, guys. This is S.M.A.S.H objectives, specific, measurable, achievable, stretching, and harmonious. If you're familiar with SMART objectives, it aligns with that. But I thought S.M.A.S.H objectives would be really fun for the gym. Smash your goal, you know, you get all fired up, you want to hit the finish line, you don't just want to get the no. But the best part about this though is harmonious, because again, we talked about relationships, it's really important, and I get that word to keep. Because the harmonious relationships, you know, if they're happy here, they're going to tell somebody else. They're going to tell the trainer you are, and you're different. So you build your own network, and that's the goal, right? All of a sudden, this thing is a little seed that just starts growing because it's harmonious. Measurable, the measure gets done pretty much. And in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be having some specific charts and goals that we're going to track on progress. Because we have 1, 2 signups. No, we need to be specific and know exactly how many signups, where you're tracking, and what our plan is to get more. What's our objective to get more? Strategy. Achievable. Is this an unreasonable request? So, signups for the 2-month period. I don't know how much is it? How many was it?
On average,
Yeah.
5, 6.
All right. So if you said we had a 5 goal member, 5 July or And all of a sudden, you can now 15 for August, 30 for September. You'd be like, this isn't achievable, so this is time, right? Right? I
Except if
it's almost,
this
I'll
month
give
and
you an
last
example.
month.
When I first took over at Cody's, we had 44% year-over-year growth. That's unheard of. And the market that was only growing 4%. Right? Then the next year, they said, you guys are doing so good, we need 47%. I'm never going to get there. I mean, it was insulting. And it demotivated, right? So the goals have to be achieved. Stretching. Are you just going for the vibe? So if you say you got 5 signups in July, oh, that's like kind of nailing it in, right? That's average. That's so if you get 6 or 7, at least it's an upward trend and you're trending up. And you got to stretch yourself. Because I saw that sign, growth in office, growth exists outside your comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. The stretch makes you put extra effort. That's where you grow, right? And then H is for harmonious, right? This is good for both parties. It's a win-win. Now, I use these every New Year's Day. My kids have to present to me their S.M.A.S.H goals for the year. And we have quarterly meetings where we track their progress. And it keeps them accountable. Like, you want a new car. Okay, you need to have a job at the end of January. Right? And we'll go through how to develop your S.M.A.S.H goals. But in 2016, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. It was probably the largest I've ever been. And I set some S.M.A.S.H goals. This was me in work for business, but they can also be successful. So I believe in this so much because I've seen the results. I coached and seen their success, and that's why I do. Seeing somebody set a goal and coach them through the process of their goal. Sorry, I swear to God, my wife asked me about 10 years ago what I wanted to do. I was like, helping people reach their full potential, have them get on it to where I am in life. Like when I left my old position, there were about 6 people ready to step into my position as a successor. Because I coached them to that point, I pushed them to challenge, and I'm sorry, I'm talking about me again. Bernie goes into right, have a specific point, right? Determine who does what, where, when, how, procedure, communicate the critical path, the key responsibility. I can't tell you enough how you measure. If you're measuring something, people are gonna feel the we're all competitive. Right? It's just human nature for most of us. And we want to do well. And we want to be accountable. There's your word, accountable. Right? It's black and white. You see the leaderboard and you're on the bottom, then you need to step up your game. And when we ran promotions in my past life, it created a bit of a stir. People on the bottom didn't want to be on the bottom. And they knew where they were going to be in a couple of months if they didn't get out of the bottom. Sorry to do that one, but anticipated objection. We talked about this earlier. If you can include the objections into your, excuse me, my brain's working too fast. Because you're already speaking into that part, and you're answering. What you asking? These people go there. You know what? Being ready with solutions builds confidence, calmness, and trust. Right? So if you get me, You know what I mean? How many times have you guys heard that during this session? I want you to get me, right? Sometimes it just happens during the relationship building. Needs out, that's how you get that relationship building, right? And it's solid. Okay. One of the things, here's a little another acronym. Don't get all crazy when they have an objection. Yeah. Stay calm, listen, quiet. Ask them, tell me more about it. Present that. So if I hear you correctly, your issue is weight loss and being on a consistent routine and process. Weight loss. Is your, like you said, what is that? The what programs were you on in the past? How, were they effective? Why weren't they effective? Yeah. For a solution. You know, if I could show a few that did that, would you be interested? And resolve. Hey, that's a little harsher, but it's a harder close. All right, gotta get up again. Another activity. Create 5 common objections. We take a picture of this. But this is what we're going to work on to help you with your closes and give you more confidence. One thing I heard from everyone was closing makes you nervous. That's crazy. It's nervous. Not the close. They're always afraid to ask for sale. I've got this great relationship. Right? I don't want to ruin that by having money into the picture or a commitment. Right? Everybody does that. That's where it becomes uncomfortable. So we have to drill down, get those objections and drill down to the root cause of why they're having those objections and overcome them. To make them feel comfortable making that decision. Make sense? So that's what we're going to work on probably in the next couple weeks on working on overcoming objections. So I have to know the objection. I know the first one is money all the time, right? So you know what? Do you have your camera, Anthony? Or anybody have their phone? Just take a picture of this.
Put it to the group.
I don't see anybody getting up.
Are we doing it all together or separating it individually?
No, how about this? Since you guys are kind of perched there,
Perched is a good word.
do we get enough? Nah, just yell. Okay.
Time.
That was fun. That was good, guys.
Spouse.
Let's, well,
Location. Or they tried to do it before and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Why are we?
Did this before.
Already had a training with anybody.
Yeah.
Injuries or health issues.
That's a good one.
I don't want to get it injury.
Not everyone's like you, Gary. 9 of 9 lives.
Yes.
Anything else?
I think it's embarrassing. Some people are self-conscious. you know, I want to lose weight before I join the gym, yeah.
Go to a personal trainer with provides support.
They don't have outside support. Their spouse or their. Yeah, wow, you went to the gym today, so let's go out to dinner. Like, there's no, it's like sabotage.
That's what I'm.
Yeah.
Sabotage.
They're only here for half an hour, they're home for. Right.
Yeah. You do that outside.
That's good. The other one looking too good, they're jealous that they're getting in shape and they want to sit on the couch.
Well, they just don't understand the reason why. Yeah, in better shape. It's fine.
Oh, I'd say just from the bird's eye view, I've seen a lot of people that are using it. I've seen special needs people that, because, you know, I've seen elderly people that will say, you know, I gotta do something, and they're really, they're inspired. You know, I get it, but I gotta.
I have another one. I can be here all day.
No, I want to hear, man, because we want to address. COVID.
Doesn't matter, still here.
They just have that preconceived notion of
Yep.
what a gym is.
You get me, there's objections before somebody walks in the door, which is why they don't walk in the door.
And they don't really,
Yeah.
get you bulked up.
A lot of women say that, like, oh, like I'd work out, but like I'm gonna get muscular. I'm like, that doesn't happen.
Oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right?
That's another one. So I guess that's lack of knowledge.
I'm not gonna lose weight with working out. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
You can see,
like it.
Yeah.
And but just knowledge too is another one. We don't know what we're talking about.
People sometimes think they know everything.
Yep,
They
Yep.
Googled it.
Because they Googled it.
because they Googled it. Hope it's enough for you, Gary.
He said live.
Yeah, on the side of Facebook.
guys, this is what's going to lead to a path of success. Once we overcome objections, there's no reason for them to say no if they force themselves, right? So this is what we're going to be working on in our homework, and my homework, and to deliver to you guys and coach on how to get overcome all of it. Right? So you just gave me my job assignment. Well, that was a good activity though, right? I mean, that's what we're here for. And again, it's not selling people on overcoming the objections, it's getting them to do what they really know. Right? And we're just giving them the best.
Changing people's lives.
Yeah. That's another thing, with the ambition statement.
I have a half mission statement.
Yeah, you started one.
I know, I started one, changed.
Next, assignments and people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Of course, start with why. I recommend that book to everybody. During our group meetings every week, we'd start with why. What's a good place to start with why? Elevator pitch. You are, I don't care what you do, I want to know why you do it.
I love lifting people and seeing them achieve their goal. That's nothing good to be integrated.
And your why for me, here's a client, is because he loves community, he loves community, he loves,
I got my life, I love getting my life.
you would enjoy.
Yeah. And I'm getting older and I know I need to do me. I'll call it me.
Like a car.
Yeah. Are you maintain the cars in the back? Yeah, I've got to change the oil.
Just please more than once every 3 months.
Yeah. All right, there are two components to exploring needs, reconfirm and explore needs. So we're gonna get into this a little more right now. Because this is your setup for your proposal. Okay? But I think the key to this, there's a lot of different questions, so before we start getting into the proposal. And how that, we talked before, we're trying to get those questions out, right? So what kind of questions do we ask? How do we ask? Right? There's 4 types: the open, closed, probing, and rhetorical. Open, pretty much explain to me why that happened. Right? Doesn't mean those are the open-ended questions that are deep dive into you. Right? And tell me more about that. What's your why? That could be forever, right? Closed, deciding to get confirmation. Do you want to buy this? Right? You have to, unfortunately, it sounds a little rough in this presentation, but you have to ask closed questions. And we can't be afraid to ask. Probing. That's trying to get more information, right? Some people are like, you want to ask those questions to have an understanding of what their needs are, right? What's the problem? What will affect you? What exactly do you need? Right? Why do we need the next natural? We kind of touched on this earlier with the funnel, right? So I want to lose weight. I want to get strength. I want to be conditioning. I want to get in great condition. I want to be able to do this. Okay, wait. Why do you want to do this? Let's talk about it. Stay in that funnel. Don't go rapid fire with questions, because then the more they tell you during the questioning, again, I keep saying this, but it's like the 5 tell them. You tell them, you tell them 5 times, people finally remember. But the more information you get about the person, they'll close themselves. Again, I know it's redundant, I've said it a number of times, but that's why you want to ask questions so you can understand them. Right? It builds on the previous question, creates meaningful natural comments, prevents wandering, because sometimes we all, as people, get nervous and we chatter too much. And nothing, you ever speak to somebody, maybe a spouse, and they never listen to me? People like to be heard, right? So stay in that funnel. And so there's a science behind it. The largest topics today.
Anthony, get Gary a bigger TV. I'm squinting over here. Sorry.
Okay.
We'll upload this.
What's the actual process for a funnel? Start with the open-ended question, right? What's your issue at the moment? Probe to get more detail. Why is it a service issue? Why is, what has stopped you from coming to the gym in the past? I mean, I'm trying to, again, obviously, more product design, but it's the same concept. Open, probe, protocol. So this is the posing part. So if I hear you correctly, weight loss is the ultimate goal, but you also would like to start living a healthy lifestyle. Is that correct? Right? Pretty much along the line. And so, can we help you reach your goals? Yes, we can. Is that something that's interesting? Right? So pretty much, I don't know where this stuff pops up. It doesn't do that on mine.
It's okay.
I don't know how to do that though. I don't know.
I'm so impressed.
My kid must have been when I wasn't looking. All right, that's the 5 why. Basically, the 5 whys is stay in that. The 5 whys before? No? Okay. Well, you will. And we're gonna drill down into that. I'm moving through this pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, you're good. I'm just excited for the last slide. I'm excited for the last slide. Because I know what it is and you guys don't.
Now we all have anxiety.
So now you've gotten all this information, started with your proposal. Now it's to start establishing it. It's all about the relationship, right? You want to have that edge of the seat. I know I'm going to go off on a little tangent here, but I had no idea our data for physical fitness. Didn't know where to go. I started, but within 10 minutes, I had a whole bunch of Google searches and was able to put together hard data. You always need hard data. Yes, you think so?
I think it's important.
I think it's important. You just have, I think you do. Because you can show, using hard data shows that you have the knowledge, right? And it builds trust. If you, go ahead.
What if for hard data, we had it in the office, so it's not something we're presenting, but it's shown, it's a physical image where people, when they're sitting during an assessment, can see if they want to see it. So you're not constantly showing hard data to people that don't care, but those of us that want it, it's there.
On the wall somewhere, or?
That's
Yeah, on the wall.
Or
What
like a
if you say,
laminated thing.
you know, I
Yeah.
understand obesity is a problem. 1 out of every 2 people have obesity or health effects due to obesity. That gives you more credibility as an authority in the subject, don't you think?
It depends, because talking about someone being obese when they are obese is very uncomfortable for that person and gets them self-conscious and doesn't want to talk to you, shuts down.
Gotcha. So it's more, yeah, that's a good.
It's a self-image when it's about that.
So do you think by understanding the type of person you're calling, type of client they are?
Most people know, they know the effect of obesity when they're coming in. That's why they're here.
Everybody does. We don't want, that's why they get uncomfortable when we put that hard data. That's your
They
point.
get super uncomfortable, don't want to talk about it.
It's like closing.
They
It's the money
do
part.
this. They open and then they close.
But if you get like different spreadsheets depending on like the kind of fund that's coming in. Like not put like obesity on every sheet.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, obesity, talking about the effects of it, is something for my personal funnel is a blanket statement for those that aren't taking the action step of coming in. Hence podcasting or posting on social media. That's great for that
Guy
because
my
it gets
age,
you to take
I'm
action.
having difficulty getting into the podcast. So I would throw that out there.
No, just stuff like that. With stuff that's not.
It's not relevant.
When you come in here, when you walk through the door, you know.
Well, how
So
about
it's,
this in the
outside.
CDC? What are you busy?
Yeah.
Take the steps to take. This is soft data.
What if it was in your local town?
It is.
Oh,
This is soft data. Eating a healthy diet. We all know that, right? Being active.
The data that is in that intro packet, the cost of obesity is not in the intro
Okay.
packet.
no way they want to really look at it, but somewhere.
Well, that's here.
Yeah.
This is hard data.
That makes me want to throw up.
Right here. $210 billion.
Nikki, you said that louder, please, for those that are listening virtually. It costs how much a year?
The money spent on obesity due to health problems related to obesity is between 147 and $210 billion a year.
You want to, if your reason is to save money on health insurance companies so much money to help with preventable diseases. Because the night at the hospital is going to run you about $50,000. We had a client in the hospital for a week. His bill was $500,000. One person.
How about this? Only half the adults get the physical activity they need to help them with preventing crime.
This fires me. I want to get me fired up. This gets me fired up. You want to save on money. You want to save on health insurance. You want to save, make more money at work.
1 in 8 colorectal cancer. Cases 1 in 12 on diabetes. 1 in 15 on heart disease. Just moving a couple times a week. And I know as you, like people in my demographic, You gotta stop, right? And what better way than to do personal training, right? But those are the hard data. I mean, I might not want to hear it, but I probably need to sometimes, right? Credibility is what I'm trying. And you have to make that decision for your customers, for your assessment, if that's the kind of, and for your relationship. You might, as you said, if they're a heavy set person, and you start talking about weight, they might get subconscious and shut down. You don't want to go there, right? You want to show them how it's kind of what you get.
Right. Well, what I was gonna say is unless you can relate it to your why.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Unless you can put yourself in their shoes and say, I've been there. I know how it feels.
Good.
I think trainers, yeah, people are gonna, if you start talking about weight, shut down.
They know when they walk in the door.
They know when they come in.
When I
Yeah.
get out of the
Right,
shower.
But I mean, when we start measuring, this is where you're starting from. This is where you know, that's why you're here. No one's happy with them.
It's talking about it without
It's
talking about it.
it, right, it's verbalizing it.
This is where you're at, this is where we're gonna get you.
So, again, there's 4 different types of students out there. Huh?
Louder.
You drink a lot. There's 4 different types of buyers out there, and we have to find, I mean, we'll go, that's another couple slides, but we have to find out what, let's see, how to strategize our flows or our having a brain fog.
Or assessment based upon whether it's someone who wants hard data, soft data,
Like numbers,
emotional,
or something, emotional.
there's a whole bunch of them.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
okay.
tunnel sometimes. Going outside of tunnel is building more of a relationship. You know?
So that's why when we structure the fitness assessments,
Yeah.
so when they walk in the door, you're building a relationship. When they come back to the assessment, the first 15 minutes is you're not in a sales funnel, you're building a relationship.
Okay.
Out on the floor, still building a relationship. When you go back into the office to sell, that's when you funnelize because you already have a relationship. You should have done
Already
all
asked
the
the open-ended question, you got all the knowledge and data that you need to actually understand where they're coming and frame your proposition based on their needs to close. Right? Because that's why you ask the question. They're giving you the information to close. Right? I'm gonna kind of run through this kind of quick. But like here's just some, if I hear you right, you're saying this is part of the closing when you're in the funnel, right? Based on your assessment and asking more questions, you recently put on medicine for high blood pressure. The doctor told you, hey, you won't feel better about this. In agreement. Then say, if I can show you how we were all these 3 of these needs, and I would like to speak to you about numerous ways of being finding. Right? That's something of interest to you. Obviously, you're here sitting. Right? You have interest in building a healthier lifestyle, and then you go into the close with the dollars and cents. And then, if not in agreement, you go back and re-explore the need. Yeah, we just set. We have to do it this way, because I can't read from there. We've done the assessment and reviewed the goals. I pretty much took this from what you told me the other day. Pretty much spot on.
Yeah.
Right? We've done the assessment and reviewed your needs and goals. I would suggest you do 30-minute sessions 2 to 3 times a week. We work this plan, we'll be able to accomplish your goals. That sounds good to you? So I have tomorrow, Thursday available. Tomorrow, Sunday. Available at 8. Is that a good time for you? And make it committed. Don't give them an. Now that's where and that's why that's important. That we have all the answers and you can stay in the funnel in front of you, right? If they weren't here, they wouldn't want to do it. So this is some soft data that I took off the CDC website. And we go over here, look for the activity, the brain function, all the positives that we could to help prevent these objections, right? And some hard data that was on this slide before. But you see how the research helps you overcome them. Right? It does. And guys, one thing that you have to establish is your value. Right? I'm coming to you. I have to believe that Amy's going to get me to my goal. Does she have what it takes to get me to my goal? So if you show the hard data and value, correct me, like you were the other day, I've been coming here a year and I have posture, right? Allie knows me. You know what I mean? Lauren on the ball. You know, you guys understand what you're doing. And they need to come. You have to establish value. And I know you said, oh, hard data for some people, but value is what you're selling too. You're not just selling the training part. Because if I got to trust and believe in you, like you mentioned, that creating that trust factor, at that value, we have to get that. We have to show that Redefined Fitness will get you, and we have the people here that are educated and accredited that are going to help you with your goals safely. Right? Because the last thing a person wants is injury. Right? And like I can attest that I went to another gym and I went there for a routine because I didn't know what to do. You know? I knew what to do when I was 21. I could do anything, right? Now when I'm older, I can't do the same thing or at the pace. So I needed somebody to show me. And I went, I did their workout, and they didn't assess my knee rep properly. They made me do an exercise that I couldn't walk to. That's when I came.
So you came here first. How did we make that happen?
The other one was this location. Down the block.
Ah!
So, anyway. So I'll explain the proposition. Right? This is, I think, I put these in red on the bottom for a reason. Check the time that the buyer, that they understand. The best technique for that is the head nod, right? Everything makes sense, right? You know, get them to go, like, just start going like this. They'll mimic you. Yeah, they will, like, and say, okay, you go. Right? Handle objections as they come up, and they'll do that. But I think if you get them to the head nod stage, they're signed. And that just little simple body movement is going, if you've covered everything, you're happy with what I proposed, and we were talking about setting up the different levels of training that we talked, you guys wrote up earlier. And we should have a program for that, helping you achieve your goals. Is this something you'd like to do with it?
That's like that yes mentality, right? You get them to say yes continuously. This is what you want to do, right? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And we said we could do this to get to that goal, right?
That's basically what we've done this whole time. It's like, we got your needs, we showed you the answers you need, right? That's what.
And you reiterate it back to them, have them say yes. And then when you go to sell, you go to close, it's an easier yes.
Thanks, Sean.
Yes.
Thanks, Sean, that works, thanks. You made my point. Okay. And these are just simple. Can you read that? Emphasize the key benefits. I'm doing this already, but this is just a process. So if you get stuck during your closing process, you go to these steps. You know what I mean? Oh, okay, yeah, you see this, you know? You have a process to keep you on track during a closing process. You don't get off key, and you don't get flustered, and you won't get nervous. Right? Client goes to buyer, explaining the proposal, what he did. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to show you that in a second.
That offer clause.
Yeah. I like hearing what the proposal is. do against each of the established needs. You mentioned you wanted to get off medications. I can show you a routine to help you do that. You said that exercise was essential. I gotta move, right? All right. Energize your clothes. There's several types of clothes. I only have a couple slides left, so I'm gonna
Be that computer?
try out clothes. We can get the paperwork done today, we can close tomorrow. So, we assume close. So, we'll talk about it. Does that work for you? Alternative close. 2 or 3 times a week. You know, you're assuming that you're closed. My schedule is pretty full. Let's get you signed up today before it's full. I don't like those clothes. That's just not who I am. It's not, I don't want them to want it. That's not harmonious, right? Next steps closed. What are the next steps? I think that's too open-ended and not in the middle. The client's closed. We've done everything correctly. It's where do I start? The best close of all. And I can tell you, I've had more of those since I've programmed than anything else. I haven't had to really work on it. And as I've taken people through this process, when we go on, I've gone on thousands of sales calls doing it. And they get the aha moment. They did it. You know, it works. That's why I get so pumped. Because you're not just, it's a win-win. Both people leave the table happy. No one feels sold. No one feels upset that I give too much, that I give too little. Everybody's whole. You know what I mean? You're not taking advantage of anything. The value that we talked about in your presenting, you're paying for that value. That's a good deal. And you're providing guidance and a hell of a lot more with the added additional programs and everything else. So don't undervalue yourself. Make sure you take enough value for what you're providing. This is just a negotiation. I always have, as we call this, like the salami. I know we don't negotiate, but say one of the things is we're talking about dollars. Let's just real quickly on that. Yes, but it's too expensive.